Thank you.
Welcome to the Houdini and welcome back to From Scrubs to Startups. You guys are probably wondering why we're at a restaurant, but I think to be fair, Amay and I are more often at restaurants than hospital.
We weren't supposed to say that on camera, but okay, now that secret's out.
Yeah, but so I think well, this podcast has primarily been about non-clinical careers in healthcare, but we thought why not switch gears and just talk about businesses even outside of healthcare.
So basically, what we did was we did an informal poll and we asked people if they weren't in healthcare or if they weren't doing medicine, what is the one thing that they all would want to do? And you'd be surprised, almost 75% of people said that they would want to set up a restaurant or a cafe at some point. I don't know how many of them. We were two of them. And I think we still are.
100%.
I think we are serious.
Think carefully.
That's a good spoiler for the episode.
All right, so that's exactly why we're here. Talking about how you can go into a different business altogether. I don't know how many out of those 75% will actually go into this business.
I hope not too many, so that we don't have much competition.
We always hate competition. And on that note, that is why we have somebody to actually walk us through what that process looks like. And this time, it's not somebody who grew in healthcare. It's somebody who grew her business outside of healthcare and took it to great heights. So today on the show, we've got somebody incredible, the founder, and as she puts it, the chief eating officer. I don't think that was supposed to be an official title, but well, we'll go with it anyway.
I take it any day.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're just an eater. Let's just go. Chief eating officer, that's a bit rich. Okay. So on that note, we have Sasha on the show to talk us through what the restaurant industry looks like and fundamentally tell us about what setting up a business in a new industry looks like. Right. So Sasha, welcome.
First of all, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and thanks for agreeing to do this at your restaurant itself. So I think it's a great space, and we're really enjoying the conversation here.
Thank you. So, I'll just start by saying that whatever I say, I've not been in this industry for years or decades or anything like that. I've just started out. So everything is coming from a startup perspective and from a new perspective. This is the first business that I've ever run. This is the first brand that I've come up with. And this is the first actual real big thing I've done in my life, to be very honest. So yeah, it's coming from that perspective, not
Lovely.
From okay, I've come with 10 years of experience perspective. Right. So I'll just start by saying that.
No, but really kudos to that.
Yeah, we really love that perspective because I think the two of us, as well as all our listeners, are in that space. Like nobody's, 5 years into an industry or something. Everyone's just starting out. Yeah, so we love that.
I mean, also just saying, if you're more than 5 years in the industry, you can still continue watching and listening. It's not like you're not going to find anything interesting.
How else are we going to get competitors?
Wrong, and then you can tell me in the comments.
Do you want competition really? All right, but anyway. So let's start right at the beginning. You've been in the food and beverage industry now, and in that too in Mumbai, and we're in Lower Parel, which is one of the prime localities in Mumbai. It's not easy. It's a cutthroat world out there. So tell us about the first steps. Like, how did you start getting into this industry? What was that first thought like?
So it first came about to me in the pandemic, where I actually missed going out in academic. I was still in college. Okay. And that's when I told my dad, I was like, maybe we can set up like a cloud kitchen or something like that.
Nice.
While I'm still here.
So this is when you were in your bachelor's or?
So, sorry, I should have been more clear. So this was when I did my undergrad in the US, and this is when I had to come back in the pandemic. In that middle time, I was here for about I think between 12 to 16 months I was here, and I took a gap semester that time. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm bored at home and I miss going out. What can I do in this space that when I come back, I might have some footing or some experience?
So just to interrupt you, your undergrad was in hospitality?
No, so my undergrad I did in entrepreneurship and innovation.
Oh, nice.
Was my major, and economics was my minor, and I did that from the University of San Francisco. So till 12th grade I was here schooling everything, upbringing everything here, And just for that middle 3.5
Mhm.
years, I was in the US doing my undergrad.
And I think
I
Lovely.
came back in the middle during the pandemic because of the pandemic. Then this cloud kitchen idea came to me, and I did a lot of research, and I figured out cloud kitchen is not the most doesn't have the best margins
Right.
and not the most profitable business unless you own the space that you're cooking in.
Mhm.
Otherwise, all of your margin is going to your aggregators and things.
right.
So then I was like, okay, this is not the right space for me to get into. And so I basically took a step back from that and then just went on to
So just
regular
one
college.
question about cloud kitchens. Do you think it's a good idea to start a cloud kitchen as a business itself, or do you think someone maybe who wants to get into the industry, they should do a cloud kitchen as a pilot just to
Like,
see if the
you
product
do-
works?
yeah, that's always a good idea. I feel
Okay.
like if you're a bakery, for example, then your
I love
margin-
bakeries.
I knew that was coming.
it's more tighter and you can get better margins. So in that, maybe a cloud kitchen makes sense. Or it kind of depends on what kind of food you're making and selling also.
Right.
So if you have high margin foods, then yeah, maybe a cloud kitchen can work out for you. But that being said, there's like still there's labor costs, there's still marketing, there's rent, and of course, then the biggest thing is you're paying somebody else 25 to 30%.
Yeah,
to
that's
get
a
your
huge
food
margin.
to
Right,
somebody else's
right.
home. So yeah, I think I have not done. It's been a while since I did research about cloud kitchens, but this is from what I gathered that maybe it's not the best way to start. And anyway, then I thought to myself, what I miss is like going out. I miss the
Right,
experience
yeah.
part of it. So this is not the most authentic start to a brand.
Right.
It's not coming from an authentic space. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just enjoy life.
Yeah, yeah.
And I went back to college and I did exactly that.
And ultimately became the chief eating officer.
And then ultimately,
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Let's just enjoy college right now.
Love that.
As soon as I came back, then the journey started, making this dream
Right.
come true. So,
So what was the first tangible step that you took? Because it's like that's I think probably the toughest step. So what was that first step, and can you talk us through what you were thinking at that time, how people were reacting?
It was really confusing for me, the first step. I didn't know where to start. It just started with me doing research and like going to. When I say research, I don't mean like online research. I went to places.
So you
I
did the
went-
groundwork yourself.
Yeah, of course. That's
Okay.
very important. And,
Mhm.
yeah, so I went to many amazing restaurants that the city has to offer, many amazing bars, and I spent time there. Like I got comfortable with going alone myself, and I just looked at menus. I looked at cuisines that were being served.
Mhm.
I looked at locations. I looked at different timings, where what kind of crowds coming at what time in what area, um, things like that. I did that research, and then I was like, okay, now I need to go back to the office and sort of do the actual research about what kind of space do I want to have, what kind
Right.
of food do I want to have, and while I was doing this research, I purchased my sister and I. We purchased books on Amazon to do more research and learn more about this industry, and that's when my sister actually found an author called
Okay.
Ravi Wazir,
Mhm.
and he wrote a book on how to open a restaurant.
Oh, wonderful.
And
Nice.
it will give you all the information you need on how to actually start your own restaurant. And it will tell a newcomer that okay, these are the steps you should follow. These are some tips and things like that. And he's a business consultant, and he was running his own business on consulting, uh, restaurant restaurateurs on consulting, other F&B people. And we reached out to him, had a meeting with him, and then he became the principal business consultant
Oh,
Oh,
wonderful.
lovely.
on this project for Houdini. And yeah, that's how it started, and that's when we really like kick-started making the brand. So I
Nice.
graduated December 2022. 2023, I spent here and there doing research, being confused. Do I want it to be a bar? Do I want it to be CA, restaurant and bar?
Right.
Do I want to do something else, FMCG? Like I was confused, right? But then when I went and did all the groundwork and figured out, okay, no, I want to go to experience-led dining and bar. That's when I started doing more specific research, found Ravi. Then Ravi is now on board in June 2023.
Oh,
Lovely.
perfect.
So, you said so many things, and we have so many questions about
Yeah.
each of the things that you said.
But
Yeah, but I actually want to go back and ask you. You have a really strong family background in healthcare,
yeah,
right? And typically, we are a healthcare podcast. All of our listeners,
Yeah.
most of our listeners, I hope, are healthcare students. So, what kind of drew you away from that, and knowing how healthcare works? What got you into the hospitality sector? And this is, from a perspective where, let's say, a healthcare student just wants to venture out, and let's say someone like us, who loves eating, is passionate about food. Let's say they just want to go out and think that, oh, you know what, hey, why don't I start my own restaurant, or why don't I start my own cafe? So from that perspective, what would you say?
Okay, so for me, I never thought of getting into healthcare because, okay, so my dad's a doctor, he's a radiologist, and that's how he started his own hospital and medical college in Karjat. And growing up, he wanted one of his children to become a doctor. Either me or my sister. He was like, "Why don't one of you become a doctor?" And I was like, "Okay, no, I'm not interested in this field. Like, what do I say? I'm just not interested in this field. It was not something that, like, I'm not smart enough to be a doctor. Very honestly,
I really don't
I
think you should.
that's true.
I think you should give yourself some
what?
credit.
Yeah.
Being a doctor is it's in its own league, and anything else is on the other side. Honestly, that's honestly what I think. But yeah, the reason I didn't want to get into it is because I just didn't feel connected. It wasn't my thing. I didn't.
Right.
I don't have like a deep explanation for why not. It's just not a career choice. There was not a career choice for me.
It was not your Ikigai.
Yeah, I mean, and I watched a bunch of Grey's Anatomy, and I
Okay.
was like, maybe I can
Yeah.
do it.
I think that's the first exposure. I think that's the first exposure anyone has to
Yeah.
the
I
to
was
hospitals
like,
or like medical.
Maybe I can. And then I was like, okay, no, you know what? This is not what it is. So, yeah, I did. It was not my calling.
Fair.
But just taking you back a little bit, I think this is just like, again, drawing you back to your journey as when you were setting things up, doing your research. I think that if you think of it, healthcare and restaurants are similar in more ways than you can think. Because at the end of it, even when you're setting up a hospital, there's like a lot of research that's involved, right from location to getting licenses to like ensuring.
I watched my dad set up our hospital.
Right.
And it's not easy. I mean,
Yeah,
Exactly.
Definitely not.
obviously, it's not, again, comparable to restaurants. That's way more difficult.
Mhm.
Because you don't get permissions to start your own medical college.
Right.
You
Yes.
have to own a hospital for a certain number of years before
Right.
you can actually start a medical college, and you have to have an intake of a certain amount of
Patient
patients.
flows.
Right.
Right.
And then you have to make sure your faculty meets certain criteria, and then you have adequate
It's
number of
insane,
people.
Each day that you run a hospital, you have to meet a criteria of how many people give birth at the hospital.
Oh,
To
okay.
continue
Wow,
to be
that-
Right.
that's
in
interesting.
for you to be associated to a medical college. It's like criteria that are like super specific.
Right.
Again, that's super tough. And if you can get licenses to run a hospital,
And you can probably get.
college, you can do anything.
Oh,
in the
perfect.
world. Yeah.
Okay.
So just going back on that journey, I think the biggest challenge is figuring out what information is credible and what's not. Because also you have 100 people with different kinds of advice. Some of them may be experts, some in fact may not really be expert, but even among the experts, you'll sometimes find such conflicting opinions. So how do you figure out at that stage what information should you prioritize and what you shouldn't? Just from setting up any business, I think that's a really interesting insight.
You should prioritize information and advice which comes from professionals in the industry. Family member in my case, like my dad's not a part of this industry, but I always, of course, listen to his advice because he's such a great entrepreneur.
Right.
And
Right.
that's where I get my entrepreneurial spirit from.
Mhm.
So him, then I had a bunch of consultants that I worked with, and I made it a point to listen to them,
Right.
listen to their advice, And of course, there's going to be like friends and family that
Of course.
will
Right.
keep on telling you things. And I think it's on each person to sort of be like, okay, this is good. This
Right.
makes sense, and I want to hear this.
Right.
And then there's others where it's like, I want to hear this, but I don't necessarily need to act upon it. I can just continue doing my own thing, you know. So,
Absolutely.
and then when it comes to research, I feel like when you're doing research online, sometimes even credible sources can like maybe discourage you or bog you down, and that's when you have to look the other side also. You know, there'll be credible
Right.
sources telling you that okay, this industry
Correct.
is crap, like don't get into it.
Right.
And some,
I think that applies for all industries.
Yeah.
You know, healthcare, hospitality,
Yeah.
everything.
When it comes to like hospitality, restaurants, bars, like this industry in specific, people get super like they can give you advice.
Like,
Like,
people are passionate about this.
They can talk, you know.
I mean, look at the two of us.
Yeah.
No, like I've had people give me advice at 4 a.m. You know, during a party when
Okay.
I'm like having a good time,
Right.
and then you just start giving me a plethora of advice, and people just think they can say anything, like they can.
Yeah.
Because everybody's a
Yeah.
customer, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yes.
They
Correct,
have
correct.
endless perspectives, but it's like so difficult to explain that like
Yeah.
it's not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, I think that's also maybe if you can just bust this myth, because again, everybody thinks, oh, I'm just going to start a cafe, I'm just going to start a restaurant, I'm going to start a bar. Like, you know, it's probably spoken of so often.
It is, yeah.
And I don't think everybody understands how tough it is.
You can. If
Right.
you want to start a restaurant and
Thank you.
bar, cafe.
I will.
You know, I'll tell you why I was really happy initially, because you said the initial part of your research was you went to restaurants, you spent time, you got comfortable with menus. We've already done that.
Yeah.
So we are like halfway
You
there.
know, if someone's in like restaurant consulting or menu consulting,
That's the only part.
Yeah.
That's the only part now.
we'll
Two
drop our
people right
contacts.
here.
Somewhere.
No, it's about like people giving you a lot of advice and then just filtering out what's relevant to you and what's not. And I think to your point, yeah, everybody has advice, sometimes at 4 a.m., sometimes at the most odd times of the day. And I think then you just need to filter.
Also listen to your own gut also.
Right.
That also.
So, you know, this is something that we like to say, that we've not seen healthcare for just the 5.5 years of our MBBS, but we've seen healthcare for as long as we've lived.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that applies to you as well, because you come from such a strong family background in healthcare that you've also seen healthcare for as long as you're alive.
Yeah.
So now, if a medical student who's seen healthcare, what are some things that would help, some qualities, some traits that would help in the hospitality industry? And let's also talk about some things that, you know, one might have to unlearn and
Yeah.
relearn.
Yeah, that's huge.
I'll give you the example of my dad here. So he started his journey at JJ Hospital, and he was working there, I think, as a resident.
Mhm.
I don't know the exact title, but he had just like graduated and he had just started working there. He was also teaching there, and he again wanted to do something of his own, wanted his own clinic, and he quit his job very shortly after he joined. And he used to, in order to like save up money to start his own clinic, he used to drive around the entire day in the most remote places with like basic machinery to take patients, to see patients. And then once he had enough saved up and once he gained good relationships with banks and things, he was able to take out a loan. And he,
Okay.
in those times, took out a loan just on the basis of, I'm a doctor, you can trust me.
Right.
That's the kind of respect that doctors in this country get, you know, even to this date. Obviously, back then it was there
Way
was a
more,
lot of
yeah.
competition. It was
Right.
like the barriers to enter and open your own clinic were lower. Now it's much higher. But that's how he got his funding. He literally said, I'm a doctor, you can trust me. And everybody will be like, oh my god, you're a doctor. Like, you're a god, you can take my money.
Okay.
That's how he
Wow.
opened up his own clinic in Shivaji Park. And that's how everything started for us. He used to work really, really long hours, and he was able to then save up enough money to open up our campuses in culture. So we started off not with medical, because it's really tough to do that.
Right.
We started off with engineering colleges.
Okay.
And then, so we started in 2003. 2021 is when we admitted our first batch.
Oh, wow.
It's a long
So
time.
that is a journey and a half,
Right.
you know,
Right.
to get there. Like that was his dream, and he started from all the way back then, did other colleges, did engineering colleges, gained that experience, gained that credibility, and then 2021 is when we admitted our first batch of students.
So I think a key
Lovely.
insight that I see both from your own journey and your dad's journey is you were both very grounded in the business that you were looking to get into. Because often, people think it's a quick fix that you can just enter an industry and you suddenly make it big. You spend a good amount of time actually, going to restaurants, doing your research. Likewise with your dad, he actually went to different places, carrying equipment by himself, and then actually trying to
You
scout
have to
out
be
the
on the
place.
ground.
Exactly. And I think that's the only way you will understand the realities of a business.
So I waited for like 2.5 years to start my restaurant.
Right.
My dad was passionate, obviously not comparable. Bigger. He waited like 2 decades to actually kickstart his dream of having his own medical college. So I think at the epicenter of it all is you need to be passionate. You need to be able to take so much shit from so many
Correct.
people.
Yeah, that's true.
In any industry that you get into, you need to be able to face your downsides,
Yeah.
to be in difficult positions, and to be able to handle those
Right.
taking
Right.
ability.
Oh, totally.
And
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I would say the strongest similarities, and I think differences. I would say I think doctors can have a little bit of ego, maybe.
Really? I think we are very humble people, right?
Very.
I think I
Yeah.
was exposed to a different generation of doctors. Maybe that's why. But no,
Where doctors were
I think
considered
doctors
gods.
also- yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
So maybe they're like already very high up there. And then in hospitality, you can't have any ego in hospitality. Like you have to do so much kindness that someone's yelling in your face and.
So yeah, that actually brings
Grounded
me to my next thought, that both these industries are where your customer, or let's just say customer in one, patient in another, is priority. Okay, no matter what, you cannot tell your patient. If a patient is telling you something, you have to listen to them and you have to cater to their needs. It's a very subjective consulting experience that you have. The same applies to hospitality, right? No matter what a customer is saying, good things or bad, you have to listen to them.
There's just one difference.
But no, so I was actually going to point out something else. So let's say a customer walks in, a patron walks in, and you put the menu in front of them, and then they decide, okay, this is what they want to have as part of the mains, and that's what they want for dessert. I think healthcare, that's,
You forgot
I feel
the
like the
apps.
one new one. Oh yes, the apps. I'm so sorry. That was like blasphemous of me. I'm very sorry. But no, I think so healthcare fundamentally, and I think this is probably a big difference, is that in healthcare, the patient doesn't have that level of authority. Yes, the patient can
Right.
choose which doctor they decide to consult. But at the end of it, whether the patient needs an ECG or an X-ray or an echocardiogram, it's like a decision that the physician or the doctor makes.
Right.
And the patient then has to decide whether they want to follow it or not. So I think that kind of slight nuance does exist between the two industries.
I completely agree. You never know a customer. Nowadays, like there are chef-led restaurants where it's like you eat what I'm eating.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna get a sauce apart from this much.
So
Wow.
talk to us about chef-led restaurants and business-owned
Mine
restaurants.
is like more customer experience. Like if you want to come in, obviously like we can customize, but not like
Right.
we whip up something new every time someone says something. We love to customize. We love to do things. We're like a free flowing, chill place. When you order a pizza, we ourselves give you Tabasco because I love Tabasco. Or if you order something and then we are not offended here if you call for an extra sauce. Or you say, "Chal, make it a little extra spicy."
Or if you put pineapple.
Or you ask for ketchup with pizza.
If you eat sushi with your hand, do whatever. That's
Right.
like my kind of space.
Right.
We are we're a more
Experience
laid
first.
down, experience first space. That's why. But yeah, there are places that you walk in and if you say, "Can I have some ketchup or can I have some Tabasco?" They'll be like, "No, our chef
Yeah.
doesn't do that." So we can't because against our rules. We should eat it how we prepared it, which I respect. Now that I'm
Right.
in this industry, I respect that a lot and I understand that now. But as a customer, I never understood. I was like,
Right.
Correct.
I just want Tabasco,
So in healthcare, they say doctors make the worst patients. You
Yes.
think that's true for
Yes.
hospitality as well?
I mean, I can't speak for others, but me specifically, no.
Okay.
Not really. I think I'm more understanding. I
Right.
think
Right.
even others that I've spoken to in the industry are more understanding when they go to a space and
Mhm.
something wrong happens, something that's not up to the mark or the standards happen, they will be more forgiving
Right.
than anything.
Again,
Because they
something we need to
understand
unlearn
Yeah.
and relearn.
Yes, exactly.
they understand the pains behind operations, the pains behind
Correct.
running a team, the pains behind running a good service each and every day. It's like putting up a show.
Right.
Every
Correct,
hour, every
correct.
meal hour, every day is a new show that you're putting up. So
And I think that brings me to a very, very important point about running any operation, that is selecting a team, as you said. I think regardless of any industry, today it's very difficult to just do a standalone one-person show. You need a credible team.
of course, yeah.
So how do you go about finding the right people with the right
What
credentials?
I've learned throughout this process, good people find good people.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
lovely.
Love that thought.
So when I started working with my principal business consultant, Ravi, he made me meet such good people. My parents are the ones investing in this business, but I walked in with no contacts, no network. I was very young. I just moved back after 3.5 years of living somewhere else.
Right,
Then counting the pandemic, which was, there was no networking or anything
right.
of that sort during that time. Yeah, I walked in with no contacts, and meeting him, making him a contact was the biggest thing that I did for my business, because
Right.
he is the one that after we were done researching what kind of space we want to do, he is the one who introduced me to the right people.
Mhm.
So he introduced me to my consulting chef. He introduced me to my interior designer and my architect. He is the one who introduced me to my kitchen consultant. He is the one who introduced me to my bar consultant. So
Right.
various such people he introduced me to, and then they introduced me further to other
Right.
people like my.
Got it.
I think networking is key.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So just to double down on that, for somebody who's trying to now grow their network. So in your case, it was probably literally a book that changed your life.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so
Which I
if
didn't even read all the way.
oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, you met the
Yeah.
author, so yeah, I have real life here.
But so if there is somebody who's trying to grow their network in an industry that they know very little about, what advice would you have for them, and what is like the first step that they can take today with all the technology, all the networking apps that you have?
It depends. Like for me, again, it might not be fair to just take my perspective, because, like I said, I had that backing
Right.
of my parents,
Right.
that I could go and hire a consultant before I even made any
Mhm.
money or anything like that. I
Right.
was able to do that. I was able to get him on board. So he worked with me once a week, and that's how I met all these other people. As a project, it grew because I had that initial backing.
Got it.
But now, you know what? There are so many people that if you just hit them up, send an email, make that phone call. Even someone like Ravi, it doesn't have to be like a super hectic thing. He does like 1 hour calls. So you should start somewhere where someone who's in the industry is giving you some help, some advice, and making you meet some people. And I feel like then once you start doing your own research, then you might be lost at who is the right consultancy, who is
Right.
the right architect and
right.
design to work with. That's why even your own personal contacts you can work with, like my sister's father-in-law and sister-in-law, they're architects and interior designers, and we took so much help from them
Mhm.
to get
Correct.
contacts. So I think it's all about just like making those calls, writing those messages and emails, and just reaching out to as many people as possible. I would say do that rather than joining any sort of networking community. Sometimes that can get very salesy. So you know what? Like just do your own research, talk to people. Like
Mhm.
don't
Right.
do like Google and ChatGPT and
Yeah, like cold emails,
your
cold
last
text,
option.
cold calling.
Yeah.
It always works because people are
Yeah.
open to talking about new things and
Yeah.
like providing different perspectives.
That's always better. Like get someone on board who will help you before you start. Don't feel like, oh, first
You have to
I
do
need
it yourself.
Start first I
Right.
need to make money, then I will spend money.
I think that's great
That's
advice.
not how it's going. That's not
Yeah.
like you can do it like that. It just you'll miss out on so many things.
Right.
Correct.
Like
Correct.
in this restaurant, there's so many details. Like we have two AC ducts, one on the dining side and one on the bar side, so that when we have daytime customers where the restaurant is not to its capacity, we can just shut off the AC on one side.
Right,
It saves us so much money in electricity. Things like that, a consultant can tell you, a professional in the industry can tell you and save you long term.
Right.
Makes
Right.
sense. And
Like when I started, I wanted to do a 3,000 square feet location.
Uh-huh.
I
Okay.
wanted to do like 60 plus covers, and
Mhm.
Ravi, like, he saved me from those decisions. Like, he literally saved my brand from dying before it started. Had I
Correct.
done
Right.
3,000 or 60 plus or whatever, then it would be tough. It would be challenging because it's my first time restaurant. I wouldn't know how to handle such a big space. Manpower would be more expensive. Electricity would be more expensive.
Right.
And it literally saved me. Like that advice, these things, it saved the business.
Right.
So yeah, I would say definitely start out, spend that money in getting someone on board.
right. So when you said you did your own groundwork and then eventually you got a consultant. Let's say there's a student out there who's passionate about food. And so for us, for example, now we are very, very, very passionate about food. So there's a couple of things that you can do. Maybe you can start your own cafe or a restaurant where you're on the founder side of things. But you can also be a consultant for the restaurant. Let's say you have enough knowledge. Like Amar said, we've read enough menus. You have enough knowledge. Is there any way you can probably percolate this
Yeah.
industry?
See, just owning a restaurant is not the only way you get into this
Right.
industry, right? Like there's multiple other avenues. Like if you are a doctor, for example, or any other from any other field, and you're interested in this industry, I feel like you can enter it in any way you want. You can do a mixology course and
Yeah.
work with some amazing bartenders, and the bar scene in India, not just Mumbai, is so amazing right now that you can enter it through that route.
Right.
If you want to go back to culinary school and
Sure, that's always an option.
Yeah.
it's always to like come into this industry. There's always multiple avenues to come into. It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm just going to go up for it
Right.
and do my own space and brand.
But do you really need that degree? So let's say you don't want to cook, but maybe you just want to. So like I believe restaurant consultants, they help you with the space. They help you with picking out the items on their menu. Okay, whether you want to go for a regional cuisine influence or whether you want to go for like a much larger like a global cuisine influence. Do you really need a degree to do?
See, I don't have a degree.
Yeah.
I am an example of, maybe you don't need it. It's a nice to have, but
Right.
it's not a must have, I would say. Maybe it's always even better to have one,
Right.
but that's not.
It just
how I
gives you
feel
more
it.
credibility, I guess.
Yeah, it maybe gives you more credibility. And for me, it was more about loving providing an experience.
Right.
Nice. Yes.
I think that's the perspective where I was coming in from. And yeah, then it just really helped to have good people on board who I can
Mhm.
trust. Like with
True.
Houdini, we didn't know what kind of cuisine to attach to a Houdini.
Right.
He was an escape artist and magician in the early 1900s. So how do you attach a cuisine to him?
So let me just stop you right there. So I'm really curious. How did you come up with the name Houdini? What was the inspiration behind that?
So actually, very interesting story. We always wanted to do something around the theme of escape. We wanted to tell people that escape from your troubles and come here.
Nice.
This is your third escape from home and from work. And that's when we were looking for names, and all our nomenclature rounds, they were not working well. And my dad suggested a song, a name, which happened to
Dua
be a song.
Lipa.
And no, it was not. I don't remember actually what the name of that thing was. But my sister was like, "Oh, this is a song actually. Why don't you check Spotify?" So
Okay.
we were like scrolling Spotify, and I saw Houdini, Dua Lipa's Houdini.
Dua Lipa, sorry. Yeah. Thought so.
And
Wow.
I just paused. I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" Because escape, like not a lot of people know him, but I knew of him.
Right.
I knew he was a magician. I knew he was an escape artist, and I was like, okay, you know what? This goes so well, and I have the messages
Right.
between me and my sister and me and Ravi. But I'm like, okay, do you think it's a good name? Like, do you think it will work? And they are literally like, it goes so well with what
Right.
I'm trying
Lovely.
to say. And I'm a dramatical OTT theatrical kind of person. So we could also play around with our interiors so much,
Right.
which was important to me. I am an aesthetic-ish person, and I have a lot of OCD. And I was like, aesthetics are important to me. The interiors are important to me. So this will give the space a lot of character.
Correct.
It will allow us to do a fun USP, which is very important.
Yeah.
And it allows you to play around with a lot of things.
A lot of things, a lot of elements.
And a lot of the elements that I'm seeing right now around us, I mean,
We
it's
haven't
crazy.
even matched our full potential of how much we can do, because we've just started. It's just been 2 months, but there's so many plans we have for the future where we're like, okay, once this has its footing and it
Right.
has its it's almost in everything's good. People know our place.
Right.
We know how to handle a crowd. Then we have so many new things that we want to also introduce. Being Houdini, owning to our USP, that it's literally just the start. So I thought it was the perfect name. We could
Right.
do a lot, play around a lot with it.
So
I
then-
literally was like holding my breath until we had a trademark. Literally that same day, I think, or the very next day, we had a trademark. And
Wonderful.
Nice. So how did that drive the menu concept generation and the cuisines you picked?
sorry.
If it did. Do you think
So
The name.
the name,
yes.
yes.
Do you think
yes.
it decided any other operational decisions? Sure, branding was one part of it, but do you
So,
think it
yeah.
influenced
So for
operational
menu,
decisions?
we were like, let's do global cuisine. This
Okay.
is a global personality. You're telling people to escape.
Right.
So you can escape with multiple cuisines, not just one cuisine, right? And we're trying to be a casual, laid-back spot. So if someone wants to have a pizza and somebody else wants to have sushi, let's do
Sure.
that. Let's
Right.
do it earnestly. Don't make the menu so big that it's like you're just turning, and you're confused about what to order.
Right.
So we have a limited amount of dishes. Limited, I wouldn't say. We have
And I
about,
think that's
like,
great
50
because
to 55
focused menus
dishes. It's a
always
lot.
work.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. So we are limited for the kind of concept we have.
Right.
Like a casual dining spot, like a social, for example. Like they are like.
Right.
But when you're in this space, you have to have a big menu.
Right.
You're expecting people to come again and again.
Right.
Right.
So they should not get bored.
Board of
Correct.
So we
Right.
have somewhere arrived at 50 to 55
Item
dishes,
menu.
and it's global cuisine. So we only have 6 sushis, for example,
Okay.
but we do them well.
Right. Right.
6 pizzas, but we do them well.
Got it.
So when it's coming to your table, obviously I can't guarantee you will like each and everything that you eat.
Right.
But when it comes to your table, even if you like 7 out of 10 dishes,
Lovely.
the customer will leave with a good experience. They'll say, I like most of the things that I eat. And now the customer, they are so well traveled, they know their shit so well.
Right.
They will instantly say that, okay, no, this is like a 5 out of 10. Like, I don't like it.
Got it.
Which is fair, that's fine.
Right. Right.
We have.
So I think that's an interesting thing you say, and I'm just trying to dive a little deeper into that process. As you said, you wanted to have a global cuisine where you're able to cater to different people on multiple locations. Now, I think even with age groups, there is a big divide. Like, for example, if I'm going out with my grandmother, we go only to a certain set of restaurants.
Right.
Whereas if I'm hanging out with my friends, or if Meg and I are just, hanging out, we'll probably pick a very different set of restaurants. So when you're doing your analysis, when you're setting up your menu for the first time, are you keeping these things in mind? And can you just talk us through that process?
Yeah, we were keeping demographics in mind. We were also keeping timings in mind.
Okay.
We are all day dining. So we have to have food that caters to the daytime also, to a lunch also, to a dinner also.
Right.
Right.
And to also have a sushi.
Right.
And to also have like a madras mutton curry.
Nice.
This is how you cater to your all day dining. And when you do that, then incidentally you're also catering to a larger group of people. So
Right.
if you are a family and you've come in with grandparents, like there are Indian dishes that you can order for them.
Right.
Or if you're coming with a mixed group of friends, then someone's drinking, someone's not drinking, and even our beverage menu for that matter, we have done. If you're a beer drinker, you have tap beer, you have craft.
Right.
If you're a cocktail drinker, we have, obviously this is like a cocktail bar, so you have amazing cocktails. If you're not a drinker at all, then we have not overlooked our mocktails at
Right.
all.
Lovely.
Right.
They are our cocktails. So even for that many, we've tried to cater to
And I
that
think,
all-day dining
you know,
concept plus that covering demographics concept.
Got it.
and this is one thing that I think people miss, that they make such a good cocktail program and like they design their bars so well. They do not have a very well thought out mocktail section.
Yeah.
So
And
now that's changing. Now a lot of
Okay.
bars are paying attention to mocktails also.
okay,
That they're like,
Interesting.
yeah, we want our mocktails beverages menu to also do well, because people are also like drinking lesser than they did.
correct.
I mean, that is
Sure.
exactly what I wanted to bring up. So I think that there's this statistics that's doing the
Yeah,
round.
yeah,
that
yeah.
Gen
The
Z
Gen
drinks
Zs are actually
way
not
less
drinking.
than,
Yes, yes, yes.
probably millennials.
I don't know.
I mean,
was born
like
with
3 of us are having
generation.
juices.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Listen, we can have cocktails.
No,
Oops,
I'm
not
good.
on camera. Not on camera.
Not for me.
We have healthcare students on there. Drinking is still injurious to health, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, I think Gen Z is drinking less, right?
Right.
But on a side note, we need to come back and try that mutton curry.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yes.
Must. Yeah,
This is something that I wanted to ask you. So there was a time in our lives where we were satisfied with a Shiv Sagar pizza, okay, with the basic base and maybe some veggies,
that's
maybe
how
some
pizza
cheese,
came into our lives.
right? And then we got a Domino's pizza, which was like a normal, quick QSR place. You would get the pizza and you would leave, or if you did not get in 30 minutes, you don't have to pay.
And today pizzas.
And today's pizzas are, everyone wants a
Yeah.
Neapolitan or a Sicilian style pizza. People want a San Marzano base. People want 4 types of cheeses.
Because now they are aware.
Correct.
They've had
That's
it
true.
all now. They want the best of the best, and as they should, we should all thrive to do the best that we can.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's
And
true.
Absolutely.
Same applies to food as well.
Yeah.
Like we do sourdough pizzas, and
Okay.
people love that. Like they appreciate that it's sourdough. People appreciate that it's a good pizza that's coming out.
Correct,
thought
correct.
out. Like we have a prawns and pesto pizza. So it's like
That
a little
too.
different.
I'll die because I'm allergic to shellfish. But
Oh, okay.
yes, that too.
Yeah, so people like stuff like that. It's good.
I mean, that actually brings me to my next point, which is competition. I mean, since you mentioned sourdough pizza, within this compound, there are, I know a couple of popular places which are doing sourdough pizzas,
Yeah.
and their whole USP is sourdough pizzas.
Yeah.
So, how exactly do you deal with that?
So, obviously there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of great places right beside me, So much competition, so much inspiration also, so much to look up to. Having complementary businesses in your surrounding will help also.
Okay.
Right.
People will want to go from one place to another. So it's great. Now, for the customer, it depends, right? Like if you're just looking for eating this specific pizza, or you're just looking for pizza, then yeah, you might not come to Houdini. But that's completely fair, because there will be a whole other range of customers who also want the option to have something else,
Mhm.
who all want a beer. They will
Right.
come here.
Right.
So
Got
I
it.
feel like each place will have its customer.
You said how customers probably it's a good thing. But what's the vibe like between the curators and the founders and the owners of these restaurants? Like, is it like competitive and cutthroat, or is it pretty chill and
It's
amicable?
good. I think it's amicable. It's
Oh, wonderful.
good, and
And you have to support each other.
encourage each other. Yeah.
Because I think that's how industries as a whole grow, right?
I have not myself met many founders of like restaurants and bars, because again I've just started.
But-
And I think you can just help each other grow as a whole, right?
But let's say someone's trying to enter this industry as an outsider. Do you think there are people who would, kind of be a hindrance to that?
Yeah, of course. There's always
Yeah,
people
true.
who will be a hindrance to you, and who will even discourage.
Did you, like, no names dropping maybe, but do you want to talk about how any of your experiences and how you got through that?
Yeah, there was one location that I saw when I was just first looking for locations. This was again back in 2023. This popular space in Bandra, opposite which I was looking at another space to open up, and I knew someone who knew someone
Mhm.
who
Okay.
owned that space, that popular brand, and they called them up excitedly to be like, this is available and I might go for it, and they were like, no, it's like not gonna work. Like,
Oh wow,
it's
that's
like a bad
that's
idea,
rough.
like, don't do it.
Oh,
And I was like, okay, that's a bit biased, I feel
Yeah.
like. So yeah, it's on you to filter out those things.
Right. So I think the next question I have, a lot of investment is in property, and
Right.
regardless of whether you're in healthcare or in the hospital industry specifically, or you're into hospitality, that is food and beverage, especially in a city like Mumbai, where anyway realty prices are really high.
Yeah.
How do you figure out which location is the best from an economic viewpoint,
Yeah.
as well as the kind of
target
consumers
audience maybe,
and
yeah.
you're trying to get to?
Location is the most important decision you will make,
Absolutely.
and it is the thing that's going to drive your business. Especially if you're like me, where it's like experience-led dining,
Right.
where you're not the one cooking, where you're not the one making the drinks, you are the one that's bringing in the people, you are the one that's in charge of leading the experience, then location is the most important,
Right.
right? And it's like, I want to open a bar, I want
Mhm.
to open a restaurant. I can't be in a place that's not discoverable.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
True.
I should be on the ground floor.
Right.
I should be on the main street if that's available to me. I should be in a place where I can drive in. At least I have the opportunity to drive in at lunch sales. You're not going to find a good deal anywhere in the city.
Yeah,
It's going to be over budget always. There's no
Right.
doubt about it. And budget is one thing, but to find the correct landlord, to find someone that will be even willing to give you a space is difficult.
Right. Yeah.
There are like multinational chains coming to Bombay today.
Correct.
There are, I don't know, they're huge, they're international. There's a landlord does not have a doubt that they'll default on a rent or anything. Anyone will rather give it to them. And give it to Tim
Right.
Hortons, and give it to a Pret, and give it to some brand like that. And
Right.
then done. No, like, why will I even look for a niche?
Correct.
Like it's safe
Right.
to give it to them.
Yeah.
I understand their perspective also. It's safe to
Right.
give it to them. And then that's when your like smaller, newer brands will suffer. Like I
Correct.
have just gotten rejected saying you are a new brand, you are too young, you don't
Right.
know what you're doing. Like it's
Oh.
I've gotten rejected based on these things first.
Okay.
Just on first look, they're like, no. It's you versus like a Tim Hortons, like who are you going to pick as a landlord? Obviously you'll pick the other guy. You'll pick the
Right.
big international guy. So yeah, it starts from there.
Right.
Stuff starts from there, and I'm thankful I got this space in Lower Parel, which is surrounded by really amazing brands, and
Mhm.
it took me a while to get here. I had to prove that like I've been looking for so long and I've not given up. I have a team ready, I have my menu ready, I have my drawings ready, my plan is ready. Like
Right.
you have to come in with that much preparedness
Correct.
when you're newer. And in general, everybody should have that much
Mhm.
preparedness. But yeah, it's about how you portray it.
Fair. And you mentioned something about sales. It doesn't exactly translate to healthcare, but you're a new restaurant and you're starting out. There's not going to be a queue right at the time when you open. So you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to be resilient.
Yeah.
I think the same applies to healthcare.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you open a new clinic or if you open a new
True.
hospital.
Yeah.
Patients are not going to, yeah. It's
Yeah.
not like you open the shutter and there's a line of patients waiting to see you. I think patience and resilience are transferable skills. So any thoughts on that? Because yes, there are similarities.
It's a difficult thing you will have to do.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're opening a clinic or a restaurant.
I think I'd even apply it to something as smaller on scale as a podcast. It's like here, the financial stakes are not as high, but even here, there is some kind of patience
Correct.
and resilience that's required. Yeah.
No, I think it's like the toughest part of the job where
Yeah.
You have to be persistent.
less busy days are going to hit you
Yes.
Yes.
so much
Yes.
harder than
Yes.
any busy day ever.
Right.
I mean that, and things that you thought would work, would go big. If they don't, expectations.
No, I had a
Yeah.
time when literally I was getting so many views on our videos, and we did an amazing deal with a big platform, and it was like flying. Okay, and we're getting
Nice.
comments, I'm getting messages, and it's like, wow, the space is trending. That's amazing. And that night, we didn't have any customers in the restaurant.
Wow.
and all of this, I'm sitting here and I'm seeing on my phone, people are like amazing, like this is going
Right.
so well, I can't wait to visit. And there are people telling me that, oh, you know, someone living in Hawaii has heard about your restaurant in Lopay, that's amazing. The marketing team is doing amazing, which they are. And I'm sitting here, empty restaurant.
Wow.
You know, those are the times that will really hit you. And you will be on the ground and you're going to be like, wow.
And
That's
these are times when
it's
it
like,
tests
oh,
you.
this is like a new chapter.
And that's the reality of starting your own business. And I think
Correct.
so that brings me to another question. So again, with hospitals, I feel the trends are a little more seasonal, where typically sometimes during the summers, people don't prefer to get surgery done as much. So volumes are really low. And at the end of it, you have to keep the hospital running.
Right.
It's not like just because you don't have as many patients, you shut everything down, because you'll still have people who come for emergencies. I think the same applies to hospitality as well. Now, for example, I guess your busiest time would be dinner time in the evenings, and probably weekends would be way busier than weekdays. How do you make sure that the overall profitability stays? Because even in the afternoon, even technically, if you have just one customer, you have to have the entire restaurant open at, say, 2:30 in the afternoon. So how do you balance it out?
So what you can do is, if you're newer, you just start evenings.
Okay.
Like start 7 p.m. onwards.
Right.
That's when you're controlling your costs. You're
Okay.
controlling, you're going to get business. In
Right.
the evening. So
Right.
you're going to be fine. If you're in an area like this, like where I am, there are going to be walk-ins in the evening. You know, around 6, 7 p.m., naturally people will start coming in.
Right.
That is owed to my location.
Right.
Even with the fact that my location is still very inside. Like it's still inside a compound and then deep inside like that compound itself. So even owning to that, we still get walk-ins in the evening. In the daytime is what is like difficult to fill. But my perspective was always that it has to be an early dining space. Like I
Right.
want to be there for the customer whenever they need it.
Right.
So I'm able to open at 12. So I will
Got
open
it.
at 12. So you need somewhere to go to at 12. Like, yeah, honestly, there's not a lot of places open.
Right.
Like, if you see a lot of places will start 7 p.m. onwards.
Right.
But I had this thing in my mind where I was like, it has to be early dining.
And I think that kind of is an important takeaway, not just for hospitality, but anybody who's starting their business, right? Make sure that you make certain decisions by which you can ensure your profitability.
Yeah.
And the way you said, you want to be there for the customer at any time. So tie it to your mission and vision. Like sometimes it's balancing the two.
So it's an investment for me of
Right.
years to say I'm an early dining.
Right.
And it's not just a financial, but also an emotional. You have to invest.
Financial is the most important, right?
Correct.
Like that's the thing that I've decided. I know lunch will take time,
Right.
but I've invested in that decision.
Right.
Absolutely.
But then again, it would be great to just even start 7 p.m. onwards. You're rostering accordingly. You're hiring your manpower accordingly. You're saving on electricity,
Right.
and you're doing great business at night. Because I feel like if you're in a good spot, you have a USP that stands out, something different that you're giving to the customer.
Right.
You have good food. That's the most important.
Yeah.
You have good drinks, great hospitality. Again, I think that's on par with having good food.
Right.
hospitality,
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
You will be fine. Do your
Right.
marketing and PR correctly, and you will be able to fill out your evenings.
So just from a business perspective, you're still paying rent because the landlord is not going to charge you rent from 7 p.m. onwards. You're still paying rent,
Yeah.
for the rest of the hours. So what exactly would drive revenue, or like, do you think it's possible to maybe work somewhere else and maybe run the restaurant in the evening? Or if you're not doing that, how else would you drive revenue?
You can use your kitchen space for deliveries.
Okay.
You can do that.
Okay.
Do either from your own brand or do a separate brand like a cloud kitchen and then do deliveries on that. You can get good margins because you're also using the kitchen space for dining.
Right.
Right.
You can increase your price when you do deliveries to match your whatever your aggregator is charging you. So yeah, you can do things like that.
Okay.
Use your kitchen
Right.
wisely. You have to see, right? Am I making more money or am I losing more money?
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're
Yeah.
losing a lot of money in your manpower, electricity, and whatnot, then it's better to just be open in the
Right.
evening and use your kitchen space for something else. If you as a founder yourself feel like, oh, maybe I can also do something else, yeah, I feel like if you have help, you can
Right.
do it. But like from my experience, even if Houdini was a 7 p.m. space, I don't think I could do it. Like
Right.
it's not just what starts at 7 p.m. It's the whole day that
Right.
goes into
Yeah.
being live at 7 p.m.
Correct,
It's like a 24/7 job, I feel like.
And
that's what entrepreneurship is.
yeah, literally. And I think that just, I mean, one very important question as we were talking about financial viability is, so if you had to advise somebody who's trying to get into any industry, a big challenge ends up being, how do you finance your dream?
Right.
What advice would you have for people who are trying to actively finance their dream? You know, can be healthcare, can be hospitality, any industry for that matter.
Okay, this is tough for me to answer because honestly, I'm not the right candidate at
Mhm.
to answer this question. For me, it was uh, making a good enough business plan, telling my father that, okay, this is what I think will work, this is why I think it will work, these are my numbers to support it,
Okay.
and telling him that this is the kind of brand I want to be, this is how passionate I am about it, and then it was him actually like believing in me
Right.
and fund this business for me. That's not the experience of a lot of people.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
You know, so then if you're looking for financing and funding, I would say now in the hospitality industry, investors are coming in.
Okay.
You can
Right.
always go
Yes.
to investors. You can always reach out to someone like a Ravi or some other type of consultant who will help you meet the right kind of investors that will invest the right kind of money in your business.
Right.
Then I don't know. Maybe I'm not the right person to answer this question, but I think it's about your network then.
Okay.
Right.
You have to
Alright.
go out there, use all of your time in networking with the right people, having the right business plan, and then finding the right funding for it.
Sure. So actually, something else that I read was restaurants are actually the most difficult business to operate in the world, and they have the highest morbidity rates. I think 90% of businesses fail in the first year, and I think 96% of them actually fail in the first 18 months.
That's brutal.
And that's really, really bad. And I think that's one thing that came out really strong about the reason why these restaurants fail is undercapitalization.
Yeah.
Because I think what happens is someone who's very passionate, they might just think that, oh, you know what, I have enough money to own a restaurant, let me just go ahead and open it. But that's not the way it works, because you need to, there's something called as a cash buffer, where you need to keep like a fund for 6 months, 6 months to a year, that even if your restaurant doesn't make any money, you should be good to go. That cash buffer should help. And
but even with that sort of cash buffer tomorrow, it's like any wise person with the most amount of money in the world,
Right.
the business itself is like not being able to take care of itself after like
Yeah.
2-3
Correct.
years
Correct.
of
Yeah.
open, then you're gonna shut it down.
Right.
Which is what
Yeah.
happens.
And sometimes, yeah, right. Like, you know, then it becomes more of a data-driven decision than like an emotional
Right.
decision.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what happens, and it's we work. This is a high risk
Yeah.
Yes.
business.
Yes.
There's no
Yes.
doubt about it.
Yes.
To have thick skin, and you can't be afraid of going out there, innovating, making your USP better and better every single day, changing your menus. These are the things that you have to do.
Right.
Right.
No, you have to. Bombay is very competitive.
Yeah.
Amazing spaces here, so you have to be ready to be on top of it.
Right.
Like Olive in Bandra, for example. This is an example that my business consultant has given me time and again. He was actually the first general manager there,
Okay.
and he was like a part of the team that like made the first Bandra Olive what it is.
Okay.
And he used to keep telling me that the founder there, like he kept innovating, he kept doing new things, he was
Right.
ahead of his time. So that's what you have to do, and you have
Right.
an idea. You need to do it like tomorrow.
Yeah.
You need to implement
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
So
Execution
fast.
first. Yes.
Execution, like you can't do it ekdam perfectly. It's fine. Just start.
Right.
Just go at it. You will yourself find out what you need to do differently. Like if I have an idea, maybe 100 other people have the same idea, and they will do it faster.
Right.
You know?
Right.
That's what matters.
I think the one common theme that we've seen through a lot of our episodes, and people, again, we've had people who've all done well, is that go ahead, make a decision. Everybody's advice has been, you make a decision. Don't just stay there being indecisive. Even if you make an error, it's okay having actually made a decision rather than absolutely have made no decision at all.
Right.
But we're almost approaching the end of this really fascinating conversation.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
So
one.
to just, as we approach the end, maybe it's just like oversimplifying this, but if you had maybe say like 2 or 3 pieces of advice to anybody that's trying to grow their business, what would that be?
Are you talking about this business in specific?
Any business. If you're going into an industry where you're new, it's
Yeah.
just like Houdini is just about 2 months old.
Yeah.
You're really at the inception of your career or of your business. How do you try and grow it, and what's some advice you'd have as a founder?
You have to have, like I said, really thick skin. You have to be able to be in very uncomfortable positions where you sometimes might have to delay a payment. You need to know how to talk.
Right.
You need to know
Yeah.
how to negotiate. You need to know how to put yourself in those tough conversations. You need to know how to deal with your team. You need to know how to delegate. If you say you've put together a good team together,
Yeah.
you've done that effort where you've hired good people who have then further brought on other good people,
Right.
Right.
then you have to know how to lead them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you have to know, you have to show up every single day. Like on a Friday night, if my restaurant is not as busy as I want it to be, it's important that I sit here through all of it. I sit there with them.
Right.
I'm there. It matters. You
Right.
showing up matters. You delegating matters more.
Mhm.
Don't be a founder that is going to make the social media posts also. That's
Right.
going to talk to the guest also. That's going to go in the kitchen also. Like, yeah, obviously, if your budgeting is tight and you have to do that initially, that's totally fine. But yeah, if you have the ability and you just delegate well.
Right.
And I think
Like,
eventually you
don't-
do grow your team to do that.
I'm not the one that's going to be putting up posts on social media. I mean, I can. I have all the ability to.
Right.
But it's not my job.
Yeah. And it's not probably the best use of your
It's
time.
not the
Yeah.
best use of my time. My time needs to be used in like allocating money
Right.
to different parts of our business, to think about expansion, to think about sales, to think about PR, to think about marketing.
Mhm.
This is how I should spend my time. If I'm the one that's just like going on Canva and going on Photoshop and doing
Yeah.
everything myself,
Yeah.
that's not right. Then there's something wrong. You're doing something wrong there. You're not using your time well.
Right.
So there's a big like hypocrisy in me saying that, because currently like I am so OCD about what goes out there
Right.
that even if my team makes something, I'll be like, wait, let me do it.
Right.
And then I will end up being awake till 3 a.m. and doing it myself and then wanting it exactly how I want it. And like a menu, for example, a menu design. I'm so like, it's just so like tough for me to delegate such a thing, because I'm like, it just needs to be correct. And
Right.
because I was so like, no, I will only do it. It needs to be my design. My eye for detail has to go in it. That's the
Right.
reason we only have our food menus printed, and we don't have our bar menu printed, because I refuse to give it out to somebody else, because I just believe it should be me doing it. And now we unfortunately have QR codes everywhere, which I hate. I hate that, by the way. Like, I hate it. And I wish I could just throw them away. So yeah.
No, I think physical menus are much better than
Oh, yeah.
QR codes for sure.
If you're a new restaurant, just do physical menu. Don't do anything else.
So that actually brings me to my last thought, and I think maybe we can close on this. So if you're a medical student and if you ever thought that, oh, you know what, hey, let me finish my medical school or let me finish my residency, and while I'm working as a doctor, I'd love to set up a cute little cafe or a nice little coffee shop, maybe with a small viennoiserie or a bakery, maybe in a popular location like Bandra.
Yeah.
If that's your calling, do you have something that they can maybe think upon? And let's say if they want to open up their own cafe, something that they can draw
maybe a good
inspiration from,
start
or a
point.
good starting point. Yeah.
So the starting point would just go visit our amazing Bandra cafes.
Yeah.
Go visit like Gucci.
Maybe you'll find us there.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to these places, sit down, like have a good coffee, like see what's working, go during non-peak hours,
Yeah.
go during slack months, see how they've done their branding, see
Right.
how the colors, the menu, the posters, and see how it all really comes together, why
Yeah.
that matters,
Right.
Yeah.
see the consistency. You don't have to be like, obviously innovation is important, like I said, but it doesn't have to be like every minute you're doing something else.
Right.
You know?
Correct, correct.
It can
Yes.
still be consistency is the most important.
Yeah.
You
And I
know,
mean, and
see
if they're looking for more advice, they can always pop over to Houdini.
Yeah.
So
You're gonna find Sasha, maybe us.
yeah.
So, yeah.
for sure. But yeah, maybe you guys can also say something about if you're in the medical field and you want, like, you guys have done other things with your lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We've done lots of things.
Yeah.
for you guys too, I mean, it's a lot, right?
Sure. So I think the one thing that I'd say is take the leap of faith. There's
Yeah,
never
totally.
going to be a right time.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's going to be 100 people who are going to, pull you down, who are going to anchor you to the thought that you finish your MBBS, you're a doctor. Why don't you just, function as a doctor? But I think you need to find your calling. There's a concept that I really like. It's called ikigai. It's the reason that you wake up every morning. It's something that you don't go to work. You should enjoy your work. You should enjoy what you're doing. Find your ikigai, even if it takes time. Maybe like what Amay and I did.
Yeah.
We worked through different sectors, and the sectors we worked through, they're vastly insane, and there's a range of experiences that we bring. But you can do that too, and I think you should, because there's never going to be a right time.
And I think from my end, like, I'm more of a numbers guy, and I think this is a good time to introduce like the sunk cost fallacy. So I feel like, when you get into a business, I think obviously there's the one side of passion and emotion, or not only business, but any decision career-wise either. But I think you also need to know what is a time when you're going to exit that business if things don't go the way you plan. Because often what happens, and I've classically seen this with MBBS, where people are like into their second or third year and they're like, okay, I really don't like my MBBS, but I'll finish my degree.
Right.
So they finish 5.5 years. Then they think, okay, you know what? I've spent 5.5 years already. So why don't I get another degree for which is just 3 years away? Whereas then you realize that the last 6 years you've spent, you've really not liked what you've done.
Correct.
So just because you've spent 5 years doesn't mean you should spend another 3 years thinking that, oh, let me just see it through. I think you have to kind of balance it out and say, okay, this is the point at which if things are not working well, I'm going to exit.
And
So
tough taking that
yes,
decision.
it is.
It is for sure.
It's so
The timing is so tricky,
yeah,
right?
It's like
And you're in that safe space where the only right option is to do a PG or
Yeah.
your masters in whatever.
yeah, exactly.
But the one thing that you can do is you should know what the outcome is. You should not do it just for the heck of doing it. You should actually
Yeah.
know what the outcome is.
Yeah, like more kind of targeted,
Yes,
goal-directed
yes.
behavior. But yeah, that was a fascinating conversation.
Fabulous.
Also,
yes.
Another thing we can do maybe we can do like an Excel or something,
Mhm.
a spreadsheet that maybe
Sure.
you can attach where I can put in all the different people that sort of the consultants.
We would
that
love
have
that.
been through this
Yeah.
process. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah.
And I spoke to not just one but multiple people before obviously going with the main person that I went with for like the interior design, for example,
Yeah.
or the kitchen, for example. So then, yeah, I think we should do that.
Sure.
Totally.
Like,
We'd
please
love
feel
that.
free to reach out to us. We're on Instagram at Scrubs to Startups. Also, you can reach out to us via mail at scrubstostartups@gmail.com. So,
Right. On that note, Sasha, thank you so much.
Thank you
for
so
the
much for doing
space
this,
and
yes.
for your time. This was really a fascinating conversation.
so on that note, I'm Meg.
And I'm Amay, and this is for Scrubs to Startups for the first time on video. So thank you for joining in, and see you next time.
Thank you.
We'd also like to thank all our partners for the continued support. Our title partner, IMA MSN Maharashtra, as well as our association partners, MSAI, RC Medicrew, the Mediculture Foundation, and RC Mumbai Medicos Marvel. We're grateful for all their support. Thank you, and see you soon.
Scrubs to startups, yeah, we're making big leaps. Startups, no more counting sheep. Startups, while others merely weep. From scrubs to startups, gonna make this money heat.